Spider-Man Homecoming. I hate this movie. I don't hate it as much as I did, but I still hate this movie. I think I was very bored with this movie when it came out because there's just been too many Spider-Man movies. And not a lot of them have been different. This is the most forgettable Spider-Man movie. I think a lot of it boils down to this is a very bland looking movie. Say what you will about Mark Webb movies, they at least were somewhat interesting, I guess, direction wise. Not too much so, but like, and the action scenes are really, they're interesting directed, I guess. They look bad, but it's an interesting kind of bad. This movie, the biggest problem I have with this movie is it's trying to imitate not Judd Apatow, John Hughes style of comedy. And John Hughes has a really great cast with excellent delivery and great dialogue. Well, this movie doesn't have any of that. It has some great cast members like Tom Holland and Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton isn't part of the comedy aspect of this movie. He's the villain. And there's a great twist with him, and I really enjoy that. But I mean, the only really great characters that have great delivery in this movie that work for the style of comedy that they're using is Tom Allen, and he's great as Peter Parker. I think he's great. My issue with him as Spider-Man is just the rest of the movie. I don't like that they try to make him an Avenger. Okay, Peter Parker should be this character who's solving little adventures on his own, and he is doing that from this movie, but he doesn't actually learn anything, and he's doing it to become an Avenger. And Tony Stark showing up. It's like this really isn't grounded in Spider-Man's world. And they screw around with Spider-Man's world. They change characters like Flash Thompson and MJ. And I would be fine with it if there was a reason for it. But they just change it because they want to change it. They're like, they were like, there's too many Spider-Man movies, so we can't make it like the other Spider-Man movies, so we got to change it. So they changed it, but they didn't make changes that benefited anything. Besides, it's different. Cool, it's different, but it's not a good different. And you guys, what they should have done with this movie is if they were so worried about being different from the other movies, maybe you shouldn't have made it so close to the other movies. And that's the big issue with this movie. And it's just not a Spider-Man movie. It does not feel like a Spider-Man movie. I think a lot of it doesn't work. It's just really boring directed. I think sometimes the comedy works, sometimes it just doesn't. It's just not a Spider-Man movie. And if you're going to be this disrespectful to the Spider-Man mythos and characters and change them around for no reason, then I honestly believe you shouldn't be making Spider-Man movies. I mean, it seemed like a lot of the changes they made also felt like they just didn't want to deal with them because, they're not an Avengers level character. No, but they do matter. It's part of the Spider-Man world. We're going to see Flash Thompson in these other movies. Why not actually make him an actual character and actually make him, the character he's supposed to be? MJ, I was fine with that change. But some of the other changes just don't work. And I think overall, this movie is pretty mediocre. It's not a horrible movie. I think it just hurts more because the original Spider-Man movies were so well directed. The cinematography, the score was great. This had nothing. I mean, the score, I couldn't even notice it. Like, I didn't even notice it was there. And it had such great, funny dialogue and witty lines and quotable moments. And this has none of that. It's just non-stop boredom when I watch this movie. I hate this movie.